eccentric she was, Harriet. Born rich, never would have had a chance to become a writer otherwise. Died of tuberculosis in her early 30s, I was told, sucking on eucalyptus tablets to repress a cough. Spurting blood a little, I could see us, Harriet and me, sewing red dot-specked handkerchiefs on our journey through Tranås, poppy flowers in the field of our battle with sickness, very lady of the camellias. Maybe not such a good omen you are for me and my lungs, Harriet? The coincidence, looming, threatening, ominous. I shivered, but still, a town with a famous woman poet. The balm of greenness shall repair my body, I decided. Green, rising, flooding, saturating space, walking a path blessed in green light, drinking the blessing, again colored petals, birds courting, again proliferation of calls, apprenticeship of flight. We of the North celebrate sound and color. We have had the whole winter to explore bareness, trees reduced to their most simple forms, delicate silhouette of branches stripped naked, fragile long wooden fingers exposed, leafless trees almost disappearing in landscape. We have had the whole winter to explore silence, the signal of steps muffled by cottony whiteness, earth asleep, dreaming the shades of flowers to come. Snow itself, this great blanket spread on the horizon, erasing sounds, shapes, engulfing defect and beauty in uniformity, forgiveness, and sin. Stories are born in winter, I was told by a friend. They roam by, whistling and hissing in snowstorms, chanting in forgotten languages, tales of the forgotten. We in the North come from a land where in winter we walk on water, carefully choosing the place and time to do so. Voices call us from under the ice as we journey, asking to be freed to reveal their secrets. Memory of water, monsters living in the depths, tales from the past. Here, in the 1670s, as in Salem 20 years later, women were hunted, denounced by children with fantasy minds. It started with a little shepherd boy accusing a 12-year-old shepherd girl of walking on water in summer while crossing the river with her herd. The fact that she, a girl, had previously beaten him in a fight was not considered to have motivated this testimony in any way. Encouraged by a priest eager to save herself, the little girl accused a former servant of her father of witchcraft. Hundreds of women were killed in the frenzy that followed, as well as a few men. Heads fell on the ground, severed from trunks, voices hissing, "Witches! Witches!" It was not easy to be a girl in these days. How is it now? Have we arrived? I wondered. An obscure menace lingering, a trace of violence, looming, threatening, ominous. Greenness shall overcome, I decided. How lushness fills space in spring, convinces us of the possibility of reinventing ourselves. We from the North rejoice in the cycle after the long Long inward migration, the movement reverses. Sap rushes through trunks, flow all the way to fingertips, carrying the return of hope and life. Irrepressible dance, making people migrate out of their houses, out of the corset of wools and fabrics overlapping all winter long. Again, the awakening, the uncovering, the nest, the bareness of skin offerings, gifts to the sun gods, light stretching out and yawning, contented, claiming its space. Mine the path you claimed. Such a rebel you were, Harriet. Late for school, sleeping in class, you wanted to grow in the direction you wished, in an abundance that reveals the proximity of water. Born in Elsenburg, facing Hamlet's castle on the other shore, did you see yourself mirrored as an Ophelia who talked poetry, voicing the truth in lace-flowered riddles, living her own world? Moving to Stockholm, nourished by fluid relations with your siblings, unbreakable bonds with friends, endless games in endless summer days, visiting foreign countries, the world offered to you on a silver platter, Ceylon, Europe, Paris, so carefree, so blessed. Beautiful bird, joyful, enjoying the loopings of your flight, lake girl, eternally young, your basket full with apples as Idun, the Norse goddess of youth. Idun, the one the gods of Asgard did not want to be taken away, because without her apples, the gods, would wither. Their hair would turn gray. They would have to accept that they had grown old. A mature artist, you are not allowed to become Harriet. Your parents wanted to see your artwork as another frivolity. The paintings the galleries refused, you kept under your bed in a box. My museum of refusals, you joked, defying defeat. A river does not stop at the rock it meets. It engulfs it in white somersaults, in foaming twirls, swirling laughter, traveling further to slow down later in grassy meanders. And so you flowed, water girl. Then came sickness, more than a rock, more as a dam. Damned you were indeed. Your flow halted. The rest is like a movie. How you lived in the sanatorium of Tranås, all this free open time, so many hours in the day, but the clock of tuberculosis, blooming, threatening, ominous, until the awful realization of how little spare time was left. You called out to your faithful friend, and from far away she came, riding swiftly by train through Russia in war, rushing back to arrive just in time at your deathbed. You died the next day, holding her hand as you had predicted in a poem. Your holy grail passed on to her, two books to be published in a world where so few women were. More than 100 years later, because of sorority, you come to me, carried by the unbreakable will of your friend, making sure your voice was saved, your legacy sealed in paper. Write what wants to be written, I told myself when I arrived here. So I will write about greenness, I decided, and this is how I found you, Harriet. You, as the lake girl in me, forever young. I did not get to read your early poems, the crazy nonsense ones, but I bit into your writing as one bites in an apple. It tastes of courage. It tastes of loyalty. It tastes of hope, the art of loving. Greenness shall overcome. Gratefully, I take you in. I have not arrived yet, but carrying your legacy, I am on my way.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being there. My name is Anne Miller, and I will read you a work in progress that the in situ works ask us to do. So, its name for now. The title is Tsuru has come back from its long journey. Oh, the golden crane. A crane. A big crane. I am upset. I choke. It is Tsuru, the crane who leads the soul of the sick child. Tsuru, Anne-Marie Theroux's creature. You. And then she went with you, on you, being you. Tsuru, a creation gently carrying mourning. Tsuru, it's you, Theroux, you here. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm almost going berserk. Grief, oh grief, go away. Why now? Why here? In situ. I saw you, Theroux. In situ. Something else, please. Something else in situ, here. Not in vitro, surely. Not done, not pre-done. In situ. In situ, out. Out first. But already there is an in situ. An open space out. An in situ outdoor. But is there an in? An in situ in? In situ indoor too? Yes, of course, but not now. Close that door. Let's get out, take off, and breathe deeply. It's summer here too, like home. Finally summer. Open your arms and embrace the generous nature that surrounds you. In here, in this space, in nature, by nature. Naturally, please. What is there in this space, in this land? Strong sensation. It is hot, but not heavy. I can breathe easily. It is crowded with plenty of green trees, but I can see far away. The wind is strong, but I can hear the cars and the neighbors and the kitchen clock. Lots of inland water. It's like home. Wide mixed forest, it's home. I can smell the bloom and the chlorophyll of these northern hardwood. Like home, the maples, the beeches, but weeping? Beautiful tears, almost like home. The sudden change of climate, from a few days of heat wave to a rainy day of 13 degrees. When I look, when I feel, it's like home. For 3 weeks, it'll be home. But when I listen, I can hear the inhabitants of this city talking to each other. There, I can feel the exotism of this land. What are these weird words? But home is around the 45th parallel, Montreal, Eastern Townships, Lower Laurentian, and all along the St. Lawrence River. This is where most of the people live, in the south of the north. But here, in the 58th parallel, at the 58th parallel, back home, lives the little Innu community of Kuujjuaq, spanning taiga and tundra. There are very few, very small black spruces, marvelous larches, almost none. The indigenous people were occupying all the territory and the way up far north before. Now, our northern territory has an utilitarian development. Only Hydro-Quebec, the mining and forestry industries, had built and shared the one road up north to serve the very modern south of north way of living. But here, at the 58th parallel, decentralized modern civilization, but autonomous, fruitful nature, fertile and rich, bountiful nature, that's weird. The 58th parallel home is the far north. I do not feel that here, for sure. Are you the far north? Maybe. You tell me. With the night being the intermingling of dusk and dawn for 4 hours, and in winter, I can imagine, the sun trying to set itself up, struggling to stay a little higher to the horizon for 6 hours, there is a feeling of nordicity. That must be why life inside is so ingeniously organized, thought out, and lived here. Oh, even the Catalan, Nancy! Sorry. A detail. The Catalonia home is either a carpet or a bed cover made with strips of scrap or not used fabrics woven together. The carpet in the kitchen we live on is made exactly like the one our farmers and grandmothers used to weave. I can observe that pragmatic way of life. Everywhere, in the kitchen, in the bedroom too, and the bathroom, everywhere in the house. The human community here seems to organize itself with great collective sensitivity. House fairy, spirit of the place, Genius Loki, spirit of the earth, spirit of this land, come. I do not live the land yet, am I not? Tomorrow I will live this land. I write. Do I write? Am I really writing? Or has that spirit taken my mind already? Which of you it be? Which of you, animist spirit and fairies, will be reshaping my brain out? Now, it is time to get in and write. Think, seek, and write. Anything, but make a movement and jump in it. Feel it. Feel the space, the place, the site, this spot, the lovely house we live in. Now sit down and think. Think the place, the site, the spot, this lovely house. Think and seek a bit. Who are they that speak the exotic language? Who are they that stop before I am not yet at the pedestrian crossing? I'm in. I seek. I do some research. I begin. Trana. No. Tranås. That's better, I believe. But Trana is a crane in Swedish, isn't it? The bird itself has Trana for a name, not en crane like in French or in English. And then a shallow breathing appears. Nancy, help. Nancy, it's the crane again. The crane. It's the symbol of the protector of this city. Yes, she says. And? I cannot talk, I'm choking with inner sorrow. I'm mourning that comes far away. Write it down, she says. No, I can't. I will cry. And I remembered the Rainer Maria Rilke excerpt I read at the funerals. He advises the young poet with whom he was corresponding, take your sadness, your pains, your sorrows, your griefs, and torn them. Transmute them into words. They'll be the fundamental art of the bottom of your heart and soul. We also have cranes at home, you know. They scream their rallying song like the Valkyries riding back on the spring wind wings. But they utter and shout this call song of the long journey back south, too. Looking in the sky, these big V's going off, I feel like a morning of the good and the gone days, but this is not as cheesy as it sounds. There is much more in there. A disease, a big illness, the one that you don't come back from, the one of the friend you walk with on the path of death, not realizing what is really going on, hoping we will make it through the winter. But off she went at Christmas. Childhood friend. You said you were impressed by me, though you were the giant. Couldn't get as much as I wanted in this friendship. Too much interference in my mind and in my heart. Couldn't answer all the questions you asked me. Should have told you many things. Idle questioning now. You became an orthophonist, and you became an actress, despite this strange feeling of being exceeded by this artistic environment. Then you became a theater producer, and then a theater teacher at our beloved and alma mater university. Your mother set herself on fire in the living room. She was institutionalized, and they kept her bounded. You became your mother's mother, but didn't have a clue about what was going on. For your mother, the pure water of the river seemed sweet and deep, a bed of calm and voluptuousness, her final grave. She jumped in. You became a very good friend. You bought a small plot of land by another river from your father that had abandoned you as a child. He became your neighbor and protector. The land became our camping ground of all the small circle of friends. You wrote a story for your company, a story for Bob and Eves, actors who were going to play that play with their sensitivity, their talent, and their whole body. You wrote that play. You won prizes for it. A wonderful play you wrote there. Tsuru was the name of the play. Tsuru, you see? Tsuru is a Japanese name for crane. You had a very good health then, but you wrote about the child's incurable illness. Tsuru, the main character, did frequent visit to the child to prepare him to the trip, for the big trip, and finally took him away with his body and his soul. But then, in the late autumn, you became the dazzling, incurable illness, and I believe you became also a giant crane. You flew at Christmas and went away with your body and the 1,000 pieces of your torn soul. But here, Tranås celebrates the coming spring, taking you out of the dark, long, and I believe freezing night, celebrating the great rite of spring, dancing the spring, the summer roll called parade, the parade of primary vitality, remaining its original strength. What an elegant courtship dance! I jump gently on one side, you jump gently on the other side. And then we encounter forward, and so on. A step aside, and the other side, and you were the great promise. The promise to lighten you of a burden, your burden, my burden. So used to it that you don't even remember what it is. Enter Trana's dance. Do lighten yourself and enlighten the path that remained to be taken. Fill yourself with love and dance. And now, if I really listen, I can hear voices. No, not as some schizophrenic visitors. Voices that whispers in the long daylight with the wind and the waterfall nearby. Now, I can write the alterity. Thank you. Thank you.